All of you. Good morning. This is Harmeet. So I'll be taking care of your Python, right? Agenda is concerned. So we will be covering this introduction to Python, wherein like we'll talk about the basic features about Python. We'll talk about bit on installation also, though installation has been done already, but still we'll talk about that. Then we also talk that how to go for the running the Python scripts directly and then with the interactive mode also. Then very important that what is the basic syntax of Python, because majorly we did some mistakes out there when we are writing down the program out there in the Python, right? Because very important thing is the role is indentation. The way we are doing, we were enjoying your C, and those kind of thing. There was nothing like that. The way we wanted to give the space, single space, 10 spaces, 20 spaces, it was working pretty fine. But here, one single space, altogether a different story, right? So we'll talk about that, which I'm sure you must have noticed that part also. Then we'll look onto the bit of the one of the, I would say, the editor, that is Jupyter Notebook, and then we'll see that yes, is it really worth to go for that? Then we'll start from there itself, right? Wherein we started working with your, you can say, bit of operators, I would say, arithmetical, your logical operators would be there, and then some sort of methods as well. And yes, like I said, indentation, how to declare a variable, how to provide the constants, how to plot the variables in terms of what type of data types we do have. We'll spend good amount of time out there, especially list, tuple, dictionary, because you know it very well. They are part of your collections, right? Because I'm sure in your bag also, you must have created arrays to hold something. So these are the one which provide that kind of mechanism to us, right? So that's why we'll spend good amount of time. Now, if I'm saying good amount of time, means we'll cover up not only the questions or the agenda, the idea from my side, but I'll give you some sort of case studies as well, so that we can start working on those case scenarios, so that we will become up different facts. Okay, this can be done by this also, right? Then again, as I said, like different type of operators and all that. Conditional statement, which I'm 100% sure you guys are much more proficient, right? Then bit on like how to go for logical operators, how to provide your looping constructs and all that. When it comes to like, as I said, like how to have your comparisons in your Python, plus your some sort of very important functions, built-in functions. We'll talk about built-in function, and plus later we'll talk about user-defined function as well. Means when you want to draft your functions on your own for your later purpose, yes, you can draft that part also. That's again a good one. We'll talk about something more on lambda function as well, to make it much more better version of your functions. File handling, again, is the very important part. We are aware of that. Whenever we are running any program in your C, or any programming language, the values remain there till it is in execution mode. Now put it in a safer side to saving, for the saving purpose, we need something. Either I can use maybe some database, we can use some sort of cloud, but I think this would be the one of the easiest way to hold your data, right? So we'll talk about that, and we'll see very good examples in this particular territory as well, right? Then yes, ultimate exception handling is very much required, which I'm sure you guys are very well versed at. See, writing down a program is a different thing, but to take care of the programs from unusual entry, if you are doing that, if you are handling that, that means yes, you are the master, right? So we'll talk about exception handling. We'll talk about very important part is custom exceptions, because rarely people get into that. In general practice, we say, okay, let's apply try catch. Forget about everything. See, that is okay. Our life is on try catch. That's no doubt. But there is something else as well. That is custom exceptions. So we'll talk about how to create those custom exceptions for your own specific purpose. Then I'll also let you know, is it really worth to go for? And I'll give you some examples of different companies also that yes, they are purely relying on that. They are purely relying on that. We'll talk about that piece. Then we'll move towards, you better know. That's okay, no problem. We will talk about that is the OOPS part, right? So your object-oriented programming, we all know there is something called C++. And when we started working on C++, there we have something called object-oriented programming, right? We'll talk about that, how we step into object-oriented, because though we already aware of that Why there is a need of object oriented? We already enjoying our modular programming. Why to step into object oriented? We'll talk about bit on that because again the same point. Writing down a program on loops is very easy. Class this that's fine. Data variable, data number, right? But why? We should know about that. So we'll talk about that piece also. Then again, this is again a good because this is my favorite one because, and I'm sure your favorite one as well, right? Because you're already well versed with Linux, right? Uh, See, let's say I'm ready with files, right? I'm a plain, let's say, plain data entry operator, right? And you being a person would like to give some sort of automation script so that every day, whatever I'm making a call, all the files you will pick up and you will paste it out there somewhere else as a backup. This territory is the ultimate for us, right? Which I'm sure in your bash you must have done n number of time, copy files from one location to paste into your other location. Similar thing, but yes, it's there also. But we'll see how Python will help her because important thing is this. Some libraries would be there. So we'll talk about how the libraries are doing magic for us, right? Because I'm sure some of things you have already done out there in your bash, but we'll see, is it really worth to go with Python? Is it really, we have some built-in libraries and we can utilize, we can leverage those libraries? Yes, we will definitely. Then yes, this is again a good one where we'll talk about how to step into your database as well. Because that's what exactly I said, that when I'm having front end, right? I want to save something. So one is Excel, the other one is DB. So we'll talk about that also, that how to interact with database. What we'll do is we'll create a tables out there in MySQL, and we'll try to interact the how to store the data, how to get the data. So somewhere else, crude operations, create, read, update, and delete, right? Read, update, and delete, right? We'll talk about that part also. Then, yes, very much apart. See, I'm sure that it may happen that we all are working in a team for a particular project. It may possible whatever you have done, you will definitely would like to provide some sort of functionality to your other projects as well. So how to get into that? Start creating modules. So that will give you the idea of reusability. So we'll talk about that in that case, right? So here, our projection will be whatever we have done, we'll create modules so that we'll start giving modules to your other teams as well, right? So that they can start working on that. Last is again one of my again favorite one, because here we'll get the idea if some API is running somewhere else. I want to refer to that API. I want to fetch the data. I want to play with the data. See, if I'm saying somewhere else the API would be there. See, are you really very sure that API is returning only the plain text or the JSON or the XML? So we'll talk about that. That if it is throwing XML, how to play with that. If it is returning JSON, how to handle that JSON values. If it is your plain text, how to get into that. Later, though it is not mentioned in here, but I would like to personally will give you one more perspective of Python, which I said initially, Django. Because personally, as we are stepping into your Python world, I think one should know that what is the beauty of Python when we are stepping into your Django framework. So I'll spend maybe 1 hour in that. I would like to showcase you that we are now well versed after this specific days or these chapters. We are already well versed with your Python. Now, if we want to step into your web programming as well with the help of Python also, is it really we have to learn lots of things? Believe me, with your experience, you have to spend just little amount of time, but the story will be altogether different one when we step into your Django framework also, right? So I'll spend some time, maybe 1 hour or so, on that particular piece as well. Okay, so let's start from the beginning, right? And let's have the interactive session, right? So what is Python from your side, which I'm sure you guys are very well versed. Let's have an interaction, right? So what is Python from your side? What do you understand by that Python?
One of the programming language where you can the concepts of oops from the Java and all, and you can try to write in a easier and better way and compared to the Java.
That's true.
Less
That's
complicated.
less complicated. Yes, that's what exactly the importance or the best part of Python. Yes,
Easy for automation if you want to set it.
that's true. That's true. What else? Anyone else? See, if it is a single liner, that is okay. Even if it is a single word, so it is easy to understand. Then still it's fine. Please go for it, sir. All of you.
Python, we have like more functions like user functions. We can use directly. Other languages, anything we basically where we are having some kind of packages we can install and we can use readily, and it more interacts with OS level.
Yes. That's
compared
very
to
true,
other
sir.
programming language.
It's very next to. It's very next to your operating system. So the way you are writing your shell scripting, exactly, I felt the same feeling that when I was working on Python for file handling, it is exactly same. And it is much faster somehow. Right, sir? What else? Don't worry about that.
So Python, you can it's a scripting language as well as a programming language.
Yes, correct. Correct.
It's widely used for automation.
That's true. Exactly. People are stepping into that. Right. Exactly. We are using it for the same.
And data analytics.
Majorly when we step into your
Artificial
artificial AI, data science, right? Exactly. That's true. So let's come up with that, right? So yes, exactly. So Python, yes, you guys are right. It's mainly at one end, it's your scripting language or a programming language to automate certain operations. So is it those operations are purely from Linux? No, it could be from your Windows operating system as well. So very important thing is no. First of all, Python is not stick to your specific OS. It could be anywhere. Second, very importantly is where we can go for. I mean, like, is it only the scripting part or somewhere else? Yes. Number one, we can reduce our work. We can automate our work. Any work. Now that work could be, let's say, you want automatically my script will trigger, it will open Excel file, will get the content from that Excel file, will put it out there in your loop, calculate something and get the result and throw the result. Wow, it is possible. Yes, it is possible. I'll try to showcase one program wherein we will create one Excel file, we'll create columns. Our Python script will fetch the last column, will pick up the values, will sum up, and will give you the final result is. That is Python. So that is what automate. So we are automating something. We are performing some operations automatically. Second thing. Now, if you're working with the operating system, right? Now, if I'm saying working with operating system means what? Let's say I, as a let's say open office person, I'm writing document day by day. Maybe today I'm writing, let's say 5 files, maybe tomorrow 3 files, again 4, 3, 2, whatever. Now you are saying, Harmeet, what is the idea of backup? I said, no, I haven't done that. Then you'll say, Harmeet, don't worry. I'll create a Python file or a script file for you. You have to just run it once you are done with your day. Now, the moment I trigger that, automatically, whatever the files I'm creating, I can create the backup for that. That is a kind of automation, you can say. A kind of, I'm easing my job, whatever I'm doing it. Let's move further. Now, the moment people step into AI, data science, there we need some sort of highly analytical based language to be there. Now, if I'm saying data analytical means what? See, they wanted that some language should be there where if you provide some sort of data, they'll give you a number of probables, right? I'll give you one more example, which I'm sure you are aware of. We all know about Power BI. I'm not saying in a detail, but we know what is Power BI, right? So what is Power BI is all about? Can I say that we put some data to that tool ready with some graphics and all that in different analytical way. Exactly how it is going on. Somewhere else, Python along with something can get into that. So that is another use of Python, right? Let's go for one more, which I said earlier. See, everything is okay. We are doing it. We are automating it. Everything is fine. But tell you one thing. Just imagine, let's say sir is working on let's say UI. He's a UI expert. I'm a DB expert. Let's say I know how to normalize my DB and all that, how to create the table structure and all that, right? Suddenly, sir said, Harmeet, for a particular client, he wanted to create the classes as per the table structure what you have created. I'm sure you are aware of MVC, Model View Controller. Just a glimpse, right? So what was MVC in a rough? So MVC was a structure wherein we are saying model means data, view means presentation, controller to control both the pieces. That should be there. That architecture is all about your MVC. But there is another thing when we are talking about MVC, there is something called ORM. I'm sure you are aware of object relation mapping. Now, what is object relation mapping? It simply says when your table structure is mapped with classes. I mean, let's say if I'm having 10 tables in the database, if I'm writing 10 classes in my front end, that is ORM. Plus many more. Now, why I'm talking about this piece right now? In Python, there is something. I'll let you know what is that something. But in Python, there is something that simply scans the table structure which I have created. Automatically, classes will be created at server side. Whoa. That is Django. Imagine this is called as database first approach. Now let's talk about the reverse one. Let's say sir is developing a particular application and he has created a number of classes, OOPS based classes in his UI. And I'm a DB person. I'm very new to him. Even the new to the let's say organization. Now, from his classes, what if just think from his classes, automatically tables would be created in the back end. That is called as code first approach in Django. And can you imagine these two statements where I said, if the database ready, classes will be created. If the classes are already done, database will be created automatically. You won't believe only 2 or 3 lines we require to do this. Amazing. That's what your Django framework is all. So Python is up to that level as well. So why I'm talking about these pieces? Because we should know what is the beauty of Python, what it can go for. So it can go for lots of things, many more as well, right? So let's talk about some of pieces over here, and definitely we'll try to touch upon some of those within our training program as well, right? So Python is a high-level interpreted programming language known for its simplicity, like you said, please, sir. Exactly, simplicity. It's very simple to write down. Like you said, built-in methods are there. We need to just import this, start working on that. That's it. And even forget about built-in methods or the libraries. I'm sure you must have noticed the syntax style of Python is bit different or unusual, and it's very shortcut as compared to your C++ programming language. At certain level, I feel how come it is going on, boss? That's the syntax. At one point, we are not using loop, but still it is behaving like a loop. We'll see to it. Or you must have noticed that part also. So that is what the syntax style of this Python actually. It is widely used in various fields such as web development, like I said, Django, your data analytics or analysis, again, the AI, data science, and those pieces, artificial intelligence, automation, which you are already doing it out there, right? Through your bash shell and all that. So yes, These, yes, we can do by your Python quite easily. Right? Key features of Python, because again, we should know for why it is or where it is. So easy to learn and use. That's very true. It's quite easy, though I know obviously it's a programming language, so at certain level, you are already aware of Bash and all that, so it will be very easier for you, I'm sure. But even for layman as well, right? We noticed, right? This is not as tough as the other languages like Java or .NET, those kind of things. So Python syntax is designed to be initiative and easy to read, interpreted language. So Python executed line by line, making easier to do. So wherever the error is, you're sticking to that only. That's it. Rectify that error, move to further. That's it. Simple idea. Cross-platform, that's the best part. So even if you are working on your Windows or Mac or Linux, so easily portable. So it's nothing like that. You need this, that, or you that particular configuration to trigger that. No, nothing like that. It's very flexible to work on. Fourth point is really important one. Large standard library. See, I would say if you go back 20 years back, very rare people know about Python. Or 15 years back, very rare people know about Python. Though Python was there, still there. But why it is like there people started working on Python? There is only one reason: AI. AI boomed it actually. Plus the web development part. So these two territories actually it boomed it. Otherwise, people were using for their automation work. What you guys are doing in your Bash, people are doing in your Python also actually. Believe me. But why this popularity is there with your Python? Number one, because of your web. Second is because of your AI. But what about this? See, this means lots of developers like you, they are contributing to them actually. See why React is getting popular. Or another way, have you heard of Redux? Redux? Okay, no worries. Okay, why jQuery was popular as compared to JavaScript? Any idea? No ways, no worry. See, jQuery was very lighter or less line of code we have to write down as compared to the JavaScript, right? Similar, when I talk about this one, built-in libraries are there. So it is something like, let's say, sir is working with some company. He started working on, let's say, Python, and number of function he has written down. He created his library, and he's selling off, and people are using it. That's it. Simple, right? Now, Bootstrap, we know bootstrapping, right? So why Bootstrap was popular? Any idea? Why Bootstrap was popular? Very simple reason. See, is it like without Bootstrap, you can't beautify your HTML? We can. I can write down simple CSS also. So I was enjoying my life by writing down those CSS. But the point is, Bootstrap, someone has written like you guys, right? You have contributed to the world. People are using it. That's it. Here is the same story. So what I'm trying to say is one thing is that large standard library, there are plenty of libraries are there. One example I said that I'll create one program wherein we will create one Excel file and we'll read that Excel file, then we'll calculate. You won't believe. Again, for this, we need one library. I'm sure you must have done Pandas library will use or something else, but only one library is required. And frankly speaking, hardly 4 to 5 line of code is required to get into this. That is one important point. So number one, what is the standard library? See, standard library is nothing special. Some big companies, some developers like you, they are contributing to that. And the idea is you have clubbed, you have start playing with something, and you are contributing to the world to perform something. That's it, right? So you will use standard library. You can create your own libraries. Remember, there was something called how to create a module. So you'll start creating modules as well. And this will happen, I'm sure, Then future, you will start creating those small chunks of programs. When you are ready with the complete module, your other projects of your American Express, they'll start using that particular module or a library as well. And that is how what exactly happening out there in different companies, that they are doing it, they are learning it, they are creating the modules. When they are ready with the modules, they are selling off or they are sharing with the other teams also. That's what the reusability is all about, right?
What is the difference between module and library?
Small difference, right? So module is just restricted to a single territory. So libraries is a big chunk. So when you are clubbing n number of different concepts which take care of, let's say, IO operation, let's say file handling operations, or let's say some sort of threading and all that, some sort of some other operations. So collectively it is called as a library.
If you
So
say
library
an-
is in better scale rather than the modules.
So if you say an import OS is a module or a library.
Sorry?
You do an import OS, right? Or import sys, right?
So that is a module.
It's a module.
That is a module.
Is that part of a library or something?
Yes.
Which library is that?
I'll let you know. I'll let you know. Then we'll talk about dynamic typing. That's another advantage of saying that variables in Python are dynamically typed, meaning you don't need to declare their types. In general practice of any language, we need to declare the type as well for a particular variable. Here, it's not required. That's what the bit of advantage, right? Means whenever you require, declare it, start using it. That's what their basic idea, agenda. This is again a good part. Why? The people who are coming from C++ background, those are in frame of object-oriented approach. See, if you're coming from C, if you are coming from Bash, that's okay. Because you feel, okay, Python is again the same language, kind of similar language. But important point is, if you are coming from your C++, where the base is object-oriented, so then you will actually realize that, okay. So Python is also supports your object-oriented approach. So what I mean to say is object-oriented programming system would be there in your Python as well. So Python also supports classes and some of the features. We'll talk about which features it supports that in detail. Is it fine?